back here on the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast to talk further about the Arizona Cardinals and what they're doing with their stadium. The State Farm Field is the name of it. I could have butchered that. We're going to move past that. I'm pretty sure it's a State Farm Stadium. Yeah, it's a State Farm Stadium. New additions coming to the Arizona Cardinals field. Very luxury additions. When I saw this article and all the news being posted about it on social media and everywhere else, the videos look very, very cool of how it's all supposed to look and the layout of it. I thought it was awesome that this was coming to an NFL stadium and something never before seen. The casitas, new additions to the NFL field, to the NFL stadium for the Arizona Cardinals, is my favorite part of it. That's the part that's never before been done in an NFL stadium. So to jump right into it, overall, the general news about this is that they're going to have 6 different types of luxury seating offerings for fans at their stadium. All are going to be on field level, around the sidelines, and in the end zones a bit further when you're talking about the end zone seatings. But they were all announced yesterday, and there's also going to be 2 field level clubs that will also be added. And with all these new additions, everything should be ready for the start of the 2024 season. So that's a good thing for fans that have seen this news and are excited about it. All those 6 different types of luxury additions I'm going to get into. The first one's, like I mentioned, the casitas luxury seating at the stadium for the Arizona Cardinals. Basically, it's, in their words, in the Arizona Cardinals' words of their announcement, they said it's the NFL equivalent of a beachfront property. According to them, a 2-story custom-designed structure just behind the south end zone. It can accommodate 20 people or less. Obviously, you can watch the game from the casitas front porch, their rooftop deck, or their furnished interior. I don't have the video of it and stuff like that or pictures of it, but if you go look it up, I'm sure you'll find it. It looks very new, very innovative. I'm a big fan of it just because of the fact that it looks pretty cool. This 2-story mini home that you have on the field level where you could host or accommodate 20 people. And I think from my memory, just seeing the video, I think there's about 4 or 6 of them all lined up there on the south side of the stadium in the south end zone. So you think about it, 20 people, 6 or 4 homes. That's a lot of people just sitting in there. And they also have behind that the Garden Casita Club behind it, a private club behind the 2-story structures. And that one's also interesting because that one opens around 3 hours before kickoff. And it's located, like I mentioned, a few feet away from the home locker room where the players walk out. The entrance is just right there, right next to this club. And it makes it that much better. You can see the players walk out, get high fives and everything like that, interact with them because it is really close. It is right there, right outside the doors of the Cardinals locker room. So that's another pretty interesting and just awesome addition to their stadium. Further along, they also have new field boxes located on the east and west sidelines on also the south side of the field. That one's a bit smaller, fit 4 to 6 people, but it has TV screens and fully guaranteed food and stuff like that being brought to you at these field boxes. So that's another one. They have the field suites at the north end of the stadium. Those are a bit bigger. Around the 20-yard line of the north end of the stadium, that one can fit around 12 guests, and it's basically the same as the field boxes, just a little bit bigger. And more so, again, on the sidelines of the stadium. They have the tunnel suites, basically the same thing, can fit about 12 guests at those seatings right near the tunnel. Another different viewpoint of the stadium, of the game. So that's always great for the Cardinals and all their fans that want to sit in the tunnel suites. Going further along, they have the end zone field seats just a few feet away from the end zone. almost like, I want to say the Cowboys stadium where they have those field level, a little bit lower seating at their stadium where the fans or people that can afford those seating sit right near the end zones. Also, just watching baseball a little bit, seeing it, I think at the Texas Ranger Stadium, they have it. They have the field level, and then behind, I want to say home plate, they have that other seating where it's a little bit below field level, it seems, and they have that viewpoint from there, similar to that. But this is obviously not lower; it's on field level. They're right there with the players if they want to come over and celebrate, making the whole experience a lot better for the fans. Moving on with the new additions, they also have the sideline field seats, which I think are probably the biggest ones of the new additions. They reach from the corner of the end zone to the 10-yard line, and it's just like a big corner seating of the whole stadium on field level. It looks really interesting and awesome in the video. I, again, recommend you guys to go watch that on social media or just looking it up on the internet. It's super cool the way that they break it down, and that's another one. And just in terms of the clubs, like I mentioned the Garden Casita Club behind the Casita structures. There's also the Morgan Athletic Club, rounding out the last of these new additions. That one is more of an inside type of bar club inside the stadium, but it has an opening right outside the club, and if you just walk a few feet, you can walk out the tunnel and just see this big opening to the whole other field level seating that are available at the State Farm Stadium. So that's all the new additions to this stadium. I thought it was awesome, not only like I mentioned with all these things being brought into the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. Their COO, Jeremy Walls, also commented on these new additions and just his reaction on it. He said, let me be very clear. This project is the result of the specific vision and direction of Michael Bidwill, the team owner, president, and chairman, Jeremy Walls said. And moving on with that, he praised them further for always trying to be innovative, trying to change their stadium. This stadium has been open since 2006, and there's been multiple Super Bowls hosted there. They've continuously tried to upgrade it and make it more innovative, make it just a spectacle for the fans to come and watch the team, because obviously that's a big point of stadium and the whole fan experience. Regardless if your team's good or not, with all due respect to the Cardinals, they haven't been the best in the last few years, but fans can continue to go and still enjoy the game with all these new stuff coming. It's very smart, obviously, very intelligent for them to do all this stuff. On top of that, they also opened the BetMGM Sportsbook in 2022 at their stadium, and before that season, it was the first sportsbook at an NFL stadium. In 2022, you think about it, I thought it was interesting just because, betting's been around sports and everything like that. They've always been intertwined for so long. To see the first sportsbook just open at an NFL stadium for the first time just a few years ago was pretty surprising to me. But again, State Farm Stadium was the first place to have a sportsbook open at their place, adding even more to the fan experience and the fan enjoyment, regardless if your team's playing well or not. And just based on Team Marketing report in their annual fan cost index, the Cardinals already had the NFL's most affordable game day fan experience last season. And with all these new luxury additions coming in, a lot of people might think that the prices are going to be much less affordable for fans, but Jeremy Walls, their COO, and as well as Michael Bidwill stressed that it still wanted to keep it like that for the fans. You can't get any better than that, really. The Cardinals already having the most affordable fan experience and adding all these new attractions, I think it's going to be great for the Arizona Cardinals. And I keep mentioning, they haven't been great the last few years. They're slowly building a pretty exciting team. They have James Conner there that's still great. I know they just lost Marquise Brown, but they sit at number 4 where they can get a receiver, a Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, whoever they like at that spot. None of the top 3 players or none of the top 3 teams are going to draft a wide receiver, almost 100% that they won't. So they're going to have their pickings at whichever wide receiver they want, or they could trade back a few spots if they want, because there is a lot of depth in this wide receiver class coming into the NFL where they could afford to do that. But I expect them to stay at 4, probably draft Marvin Harrison and add to that young offense. They're still led by Kyler Murray, who played very well towards the end of last season after coming back from that injury. And underrated coaching performance last year, I think, was Jonathan Gannon, their new head coach last year. He did a great job with them, having them stick to their plan, having them stick to his identity and his vision for this team. I think it got better, more competitive as the season went on. You saw them in great games. If my memory serves me right, I'm pretty sure that they beat the Eagles in a game. They might have been the Cowboys as well on top of that. So Jonathan Gannon is doing a great job with them. They're building that product on the field, but off the field, with them adding these new additions, I think it's all coming together in a great recipe for this team and for the fans to culminate into something great going forward in many years to come. I think Jonathan Gannon will stick around for a long time. He's looked great with this team, and they're only going to build on that, building through defense, because he was their defensive coordinator for the Eagles the season before that. I think that's the way to also go. So they're slowly getting there. They're probably not going to be beating down the door of an NFC championship really in the next year or two, but it is exciting for the fans, for this team, to not only see their team get better, make improvements, but also have this stuff off the field where it makes not only their own fans want to come, but makes everybody else want to tune in and see their games because they want to see some feature stories or some short snippets of these new additions, how it looks, and then, it all snowballs from there. Other people see it, they want to come, it draws more people in to this and makes it more of a spectacle for the fans. Just the whole experience of going to a game, regardless if your team wins or loses. If you have a good time, I think that's the best sort of experience you can get. Of course, it helps when your team wins. You don't really lose at all if your team wins. You have a great experience with all these new additions. But with the Cardinals, I think they're going in the right direction, trending in the right direction with these additions. And I'm very excited to see how it looks. Like I mentioned, I'm very excited about these casitas additions to their stadium. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up there one day. I'd like to. That would be awesome. But regardless of that, that's the way the Cardinals are going, and very exciting times for them on and off the field. And in saying that, I will transition into the next topic. After the break, after a second break in this episode, I will talk about Mike Williams signing a 1-year deal with the New York Jets, announced today, just a few hours before it came on the air. I'm going to break that down, what it means for the Jets going forward, and on top of that, sticking with the Chargers and their identity going forward, what kind of indications have their latest moves given us on where this team is trending? Have they foregone the development of Justin Herbert by going all in on their defense? I'm going to talk about that more after the break on the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it.